Welcome, my friends, to another 8 ends. It's the 2025 doubletakeout.com MoPac Championships presented by curling.gg. It's the men's Arena Playdowns coming to you live from Coyotes Curling Club in beautiful, yet slightly hot Tempe, Arizona. It's a balmy 98 degrees outside, but it's a frigid something not 98 degrees. It's 43 according to one of the officials, which is, again, a lot cooler than 98 degrees. All right, brooms are on the ice in our feature game between Team Malaret of Oval Curling of Utah taking on Team Padilla of Wine Country Curling of Roseville outside of Sacramento. Both teams had a practice and a draw to the button. Team Malaret was the closest and has the benefit of the hammer in this first end, otherwise known as the last shot first end. So we saw the lead stones for Padilla's lead drawn to the rings. And we see Skylar Anderson for Team Malaret with his first throw. Skylar's a lefty. Looking for a bit of some takeout action, but it's over curling. And it just kisses the shot stone in the ring. We have all four sheets in action this draw. The second of 7 draws of pool play right through Saturday night. And that will set the table for the Championship Sunday semifinals, followed by the championship at 12:30 Pacific time. Going for another draw here. This is going to be more of a guard for the lead for Team Padilla. So after calling for a hit the first shot, Skylar's being asked to draw on top of the shot stone in the rings. With the clockwise rotation, it's an out turn for a lefty. And this is floating out a little bit. And the weight was pretty good, just a smidge heavy, but not too shabby. It is exposed, and so Padilla is going to put the broom down for his seconds to take on. There are 9 teams in the men's field this weekend, all vying for the championship and a berth at the 2025 Arena National Championships set for this fall at Curl Vegas, just outside of Las Vegas, Nevada. I almost pronounced Nevada the wrong way. I apologize. That's a good draw there from the second for Padilla. Right on top. I think Carl might try to blow this up. As Jeff Oviatt for Malaret gets set. This is hanging out as well. So all these teams are from Arena Ice. And they cannot play on leagues on dedicated ice. And so that affects kind of how arena curlers play ice quality, ice speed. So arena ice can be a little bit more forgiving if you're not on the mark. And that might come into play in this game as Jeff's shot kisses the shot Yellowstone. So the Padilla is second. His last stone is coming down the way. Sweepers are really doing their best to coax it as deep into the house as possible. That looks pretty good. I think the double's there. That's the phrase that pays. As Jeff's rock is heading down the ice. And I think they are going for the double. Let's see if it's there. It's one. And then one of the stones jams on the red in the back. So not a double. Let's see the replay. Rock is heading down the ice. And I think they are going for the double. Let's see if it's there. It's one, and then one of the stones jams on the red in the back. All right, so third stone's coming for Team Padilla. That was a good shot from Jeff. Not quite a double, but it was going to be a little tricky. And it looks like Padilla responded with a takeout of his own, opening things up, also reducing the Malaret counters in the rings. As we have Trevor Dersh, the third for Team Malaret, get sets. We have both the men's and the women's events happening this weekend at Coyotes. And so we do have a women's game on the ice as well as 3 men's games. And we'll definitely let you guys know what's happening around the rings. As Trevor's trying to draw around here with the out turn counterclockwise. It's just a bit heavy though. It is going to go through the rings out of play. We do have biographical information of the players that I will be delighted to share as the game progresses. Looks like we're going for another soft weight takeout from Padilla's third. Oh, and it runs the yellow back and just kisses the red shot stone. So that was close. So Dersh is going to go for the draw again. Also, it's worth noting that the players are wearing their jackets to start the game. But it is, since it's fairly warm outside, they will likely shed the jackets in short order. Oh goodness, and Trevor's draw is coming up short this time. So when you're throwing, you kind of make weight adjustments. If you're fast or heavy, you try to maybe be a little slower or lighter in weight, and in this case the adjustment was a little too much. It's in play though, and it's not in a bad place. So we are to skip stones here. Again, Team Padilla does not have the hammer, but they have the broom down on the ice. Do have to tip our hats to the people who did the signs, because the names are very readable. It's not always the case. So in this situation, Padilla has the broom down for running the yellow back on the red again. As Skip Danny Padilla gets set. He's also a lefty. Looking for, looks like a soft weight takeout or angle raise. Run back, actually. Sweepers are really working to hold the line. Let's see if it's there. And just barely kisses the red again. Pushes the red around to the back forefoot, so not a bad outcome. I wonder if he's wanting to draw through the port down the center, which is a tricky shot. I was wondering if he wanted to draw on the, like a little further right and go around that yellow and try to make it harder for Padilla to try that angle raise for his next shot. So Carl's talking over the shot with his front end. Looking to draw the port. This is going to be a bit of a tricky shot. Let's time it if I can. Looking to draw through the port, a top 8 foot. This is coming up a little light. Trevor's really yelling for sweep. It was close. And it looks like Skylar's trying to coach it as far into the house as possible. So the downside of it crashing is that it opens it up. So now Padilla has a pretty open view of the shot stone for a takeout. So just not a great way to miss, unfortunately. So the broom is down for the takeout as Danny Padilla makes his way to the hack to deliver his last rock without the hammer. Looking to see some pace here, but not picante. Oh, he floated it out a little bit. So looking maybe for a plan B, maybe to try to run the yellow back onto the red. And it was close. That was a good audible. Just saying that they were not going to make it down to the shot stone. But again, that also is not a great way to miss. And I chuckled a little bit just because like Carl opened up the port for Padilla, and now Padilla's opened up the house for Malaret to draw for 1. So that's why I chuckled. Not to besmirch the curlers on the ice, because I wouldn't do that. This is Carl's last shot. A little bit more pace on this because he wanted to make sure it gets there. Going for the clockwise draw. This is weight's looking pretty good. It needs to sit down, and I don't think it is, as it does go through the rings out of play. That's good for a single point for Team Malaret. Let me reset the score, guys. I'm sorry about that. All right, so that's the situation after 1. Team Malaret is up 1-0 over Team Padilla. And we'll be back in just a moment as we continue our coverage of the 2025 doubletakeout.com MoPac Championships, coming to you live from Coyotes Curling Club in Tempe, Arizona. And coverage of the event is being brought to you by doubletakeout.com. Throughout the competitive curling season, the proprietor Ken Pomeroy updates the site with the latest stats and results from major curling competitions, where viewers can see how their favorite team stacks up against the rest. at doubletakeout.com. And by curling.gg. Test your stip steals against your friends online at curling.gg. Free online curling platform with real physics simulation. And by Endgame Curling at endgamecurling.com. Featuring elevating the standard for high performance brooms. Featuring the Endgame icon and the Endgame origin. Again at endgamecurling.com. Rocks in play, we are here and underway in the second end of a possible 8 ends of regulation. And that rock was just a little too hot and it goes through the rings out of play. I'm thinking they were hoping for a guard, but maybe top of the house. As the lead for Padilla throws a counterclockwise rotation down the ice. That is going to be a centerish guard. I just want to check the names up real quick. All right, Skylar's Nest rock is down the ice. And you can see that he did shed the jacket. Is now sporting a Jazz jersey. Appropriate for a Utah curler. Now let me show you where the rock ended up. So it looks like that's settling to the rings, and Padilla is going to ask his lead, Mike Reagan, to pop it out. But not pop and locked it out. That's a different Reagan. Or Ray Gun, referring to the breakdancing competition at the Paris Olympics. This is going to actually, so more of a draw. So that's what that's what Padilla wanted. And pretty good under the centerish guard. So I think mission accomplished for Mike with his 2 shots. As we see Jeff Oviatt with his first stone. Looking to, I think, just kind of lock it down, as it were. Pop and lock, breakdancing. We're in a very spry dancing mood here at the MoPac Championships. This is a bit heavy, so it's going to be more of a tap. Where I think they really wanted a front stone. So the second for Team Padilla, that's going to be Trey McDonald. And he wanted some heat. Let's see if there's some tap Dio on the ice. And the ice techs would be not happy if there were, but we'll get one of the Reds moving through the gap out of the rings. So that was a nice soft weight takeout there for Trey. So for Malaret, it looks like we're going to see some contact on the yellow. It's over curling. But they wanted a bit of a hit and roll. So that seems pretty close to what Carl wanted. Actually, and that shot ended up right in front of the yellow in the forefoot to be counting. So that was a pretty good, I would say a heavy draw, honestly. As McDonald delivers his second. So we're going to see a little bit more pepper from McDonald. And it does run the red back on the yellow. The yellow goes away and the red sticks around. So now Carl is going to look to hit and roll. Hopefully sit in front of that shot red. And it looks like Padilla is shot right now for the moment. As Trevor gets sets. Looking for a hit and roll. And this is a shot that should be in most teams' repertoire. But it can be hard to execute sometimes. Because often there's not much of a roll. And there wasn't much of a roll there. But mission accomplished. Does get rid of the yellow counter in the rings. As the third for Team Padilla gets set, this is going to be Alex Connolly. I think just looking to remove some of these stones now. I think Padilla's in a bit of a damage control mode. I think they're hoping for a little bit of a roll. Not too much of a roll. That's what I was saying. It's really hard to fully execute a hit and roll. But still a mission accomplished. The takeout was made. And so Carl has the broom down for another takeout, possibly a hit and roll. And also they're missing the right way, because you want to make sure you make contact with the stone that you want to hit and stick around. You don't want to miss, and you don't want to roll the wrong way. So they're missing, they're picking the right way to miss. So right there, they got it, but it's rolling too far out of play. But still not a bad shot. Trying to remember if that was an in-turn or out-turn. As Alex gets sets for his second stone. Looking for some granite to move around here. Because there's two reds in the rings and at least one of them is going to go away. Are two of them going to go away? No. And the shooter will also go through the rings out of play. But the takeout was made. Another good shot there from Alex. As just like that, we are to skip stones here in the second end. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. I'm happy to be here. Definitely appreciating the hospitality of Coyotes Curling. Their leadership and many volunteers are helping out this weekend. Even though they're not eligible to be in this event to compete. So this event is for people who curl on arena ice. And the idea is to hopefully try to help boost the competition or competitive level of arena curlers and encourage them to pursue competitive curling. And so for this year, 9 men's teams and 3 women's teams have taken up the call for MoPac. But that's not the only teams in MoPac that are going for nationals, because 2 teams have already qualified. Team Aces from Silicon Valley won the Women's National Championship, and Team Spangler from Wine Country won the men's competition. men's nationals. And so the format now is the defending champions did an automatic bid to defend their title. So we will be seeing them at Curl Vegas coming up this fall. And this event is to help determine the next 2 teams from MoPac that will be going to the event. Curl's draw is a little heavy, as Danny Padilla has a shot determined. And I'm going to guess, just based on where the broom is a draw. Because those reds are in the back 12 foot. They slightly narrow the scoring circle. But there's a lot of space for Padilla to put stones, and he wants to be able to try to get 2 here. So he's going to try and use the guard to find some cover. As he gets set. So hopefully we're going to see a draw around the guard with Danny Padilla's first here with a hammer in the second end. And I'm going to time this bad boy to see where it ends up. Weight looks pretty close. I got 1393. And we've been seeing like T around 14. And that does settle in the back 12 foot in front of one of the reds. So that Yellowstone is now shot. And so I think Malaret's going to try to follow Padilla down and outcount that yellow and be in a position where Padilla can't hit it out and then get 2 that way. Throughout the weekend, we're going to talk about the risk-reward factor, maybe gear effect, maybe not gear effect, but definitely risk-reward, because Carl could try to throw a missile down there and try to get the yellow out, but if he misses, he's giving up 2. So with a heavy draw, it increases the chance of being shot and the possibility of stealing. And so that seems to be the shot to take as the stone heads down the ice. Looks like a little heavy, so there's that backing. But they want to make sure it doesn't roll too far. And it doesn't. So that seems to be a maze shot there from Malaret. So now Padilla's looking over the situation in the rings. So again, risk reward. There could be a double takeout to get 2 that way, to get rid of the 2 reds. So that's the possible reward, is to double take out and sit 2. The risk is if he misses, he could give up 2 or 3. And then another way to miss is just to give up 1 or to take 1. It's also interesting that Padilla threw hits for his first 2 shots in the game, and then he did a draw for his 3rd shot, and this is his 4th shot of the game. And looking for some heat again with his last rock, the hammer, here in the seconds. So soft weight takeout. Really yelling to hold line. Oh no. This could be the possible disaster I was worried about. Not too bad though. Not too bad. So it was over curling, and it did move the red enough. So it actually worked for Padilla. I thought he was going to throw more weight at it. I think ultimately he just wanted a tap back and did score. So kudos to him and Team Padilla for likely getting on the board. I'll wait till they put the score up though to be official, all official like, as it were. And we're going to take a pause in the action. We'll be right back. Ongoing coverage of the event is being brought to you by doubletakeout.com. With the Olympics around the corner, you can check out and see how the top men's and women's national teams are faring against the competition. Ken Pomeroy updates the site throughout the competitive season, and you can see how each team stacks up in key statistical categories at doubletakeout.com. Rocks in play. We are here underway in the third end. That was a single point for Padilla. And I know that because Padilla is going first. And that means they scored. As we see the lead rocks coming from Mike Reagan. That's going to be a guard. It looks like it's going to be a center line guard. And just as a recap, we do have a rule to try to boost scoring, and so we have a five rock guard rule, where an opponent's guard cannot be removed from play for the first 5 rocks at the end. And then, as an extension of that, the no-tick centerline rule is for the first 5 rocks of an end. A centerline guard cannot be removed, displaced by the opposing team for the first 5 rocks. If it happens, the non-offending team can choose to leave the rocks as they played out, or they can remove the offending stone and reset the guard to where it was the first time. As you see, Mike's second stone head down the way, going for the in-turn clockwise rotation. And that looks like a really good draw there from Mike, as it settles right on the pin in the center of the rings. Full marks, but not Carl. Like Carl, it's a Carl Marster. I know there's a Carl on the ice, which makes it confusing, but you know what I mean. As the Skyler's second stone heads down the ice, coverage of this end is being brought to you by curling.gg. The next time you're confused on the ice, take a photo, recreate it on curling.gg, and try multiple outcomes. It's the only platform that lets you take a shot, undo, and try again. Curling.gg. So Skyler's shot was just a little heavy, and it does go through the rings out of play. Trey's throwing a little up weight with his first stone here in this third end. And that's also going to go through the rings. Carl's not even going to sweep it. So that's another factor that might be throwing teams off, is that arena ice is often slower, often much slower than dedicated ice. And so sometimes if you throw just a little too much weight, it might go through the rings out of play. As we see Jeff's first stone looking to clear out the front, a clearing shots. And it does get one of the stones moving out of the rings, out of play. Going for the clockwise rotation. Shot made. Opens things up front. So good shot there from Jeff. As we see Trey's second stone. I think looking for a draw. And that does look pretty draw-y. It might get caught up on the guard, though. And it does, but it rolls towards the center. And then the guard, the red guard slips into the rings. So not a bad outcome, especially as Carl's going to try to open it up again. With Jeff's second stone, another clearing shot. Trying to peel the guards with an out turn. It's over curling. We'll see if they're going to be able to hold it. They could do the double here. And oh my goodness. That's a double. Just like that. Brought to you by doubletakeout.com. Let's check the replay. An out turn. It's over curling. We'll see if they're going to be able to hold it. They could do the double here. And oh my goodness. That's a double. Just like that. Brought to you by doubletakeout.com. Let's check the replay. All right, back to live action here. That was a great shot there from Jeff. It worked out. So it looks like Team Padilla decided to clear a guard on their own, but ended up pushing the red guard into the rings. Or it could have been like a heavy draw. So we got Dersh with his first. As Trevor Stone heads down the ice, let's get you caught up on the games around the rings. Live scores are available at bondspieler.com. So looking for a draw. They really wanted to go into the rings here. Ends up crashing on the guard, which is not a bad outcome. On sheet A, we have a contest between Team Lazarowicz of Silicon Valley taking on Team Pomeroy of Oval Curling. Team Pomeroy was forced to a single in the first. Lazarowicz blinked the second, and that's where we're at right now with Pomeroy up 1-0. As we see Connolly's second rock head down the ice. Looking for a draw here. Going for the out-turn counterclockwise rotation. And this looks pretty good. Now the question is, how deep is it going to go, and is it going to be buried? And the answer is not very deep and not very buried. But it's a good follow-up shot for Alex. Trevor's going to be asked to hit out the yellow with his second. On sheet B, the only women's game on the ice for this draw, we have Team Ewers from OC Curling taking on Team Connolly of Wine Country. Connolly converted the hammer with 2 in the first. As Trevor does make that hit and a slight roll under cover, so good shot there from Dersh. Seeing as there's a score posted, no score posted on sheet B for the second end, so all we know is it's 2-0 Connolly right now. So the broom is down for Padilla as he heads down the ice. Let's recap sheet D, another men's game on the ice. Team Stephanie of Wine Country is up 4-0 over Team Blackshear from OC Curling. Stephanie stole 3 in the first and a single in the second. Blackshear has the hammer in this third end. So broom is down for Danny Padilla. I like to sometimes joke if players have nicknames, but I try not to give them nicknames unless I really like it. Although sometimes someone came up to me and said, like, no one ever calls me that. And yeah, I get it. I definitely, everything's in good fun, and if I do err, I mean not to offend, to paraphrase Shakespeare. Oh, that's a beautiful draw there from Padilla. Just a little deep, so like a heavy draw might tap it out. But that's pretty short of perfect right there. Nigh on perfect. Thank you so much again for people tuning in. We're here to showcase the curlers from our region and really highlight the competition that we have in our area. And I definitely appreciate people tuning in. If you have questions, drop them in the YouTube chat. I'll try to check in from time to time. But otherwise, people in the chat often answer questions that other viewers have, which is awesome. So it looks like Carl's going to try to open up the front to get access to that shot yellow. Asking for a little bit more eyes. And he's looking to do a little heat here, I think. Don't know if they wanted to angle the red bat, and in that case it just overcurled. It's a tricky situation. I would have perhaps thought to either do the heavy draw or like kind of hit the two reds to try to spill them into the rings and open up the front. But in this case, it just didn't seem to be there. So now for Padilla, I'm guessing they're going to try and split the rings. So just based on where Connolly has the broom, I think they're going to try and draw and sit two and then force Malaret to a single point. Now, and this seems like a safe shot for Padilla, and I'll explain why. Because we talked about risk-reward, the risk-reward factor, and if he's light, the potential risk is giving up a bundle perhaps, but his shot stone's buried, so the risk is not as high as it could be. As Padilla's last shot is away here without the hammer in this second end of a possible, or third end of a possible 8 ends of regulation. And this is looking pretty good for Danny. And it looks pretty buried. Also talked about risk reward. You can see from this head-on view, the angle's not exactly true, but basically, if Carl needed to get points on the board, he could possibly do an in-off double, hit the yellow on the right, and then roll on top of the yellow on the left. It's tricky. So I don't think he's going to take it on here in this third end, especially in a tie game. As Carl's rock is away. Last rock here with the hammer. Just a draw for one. Don't want to make sure it doesn't overcurl. You also want to make sure it gets there. It's close. Ooh. It looks like it's red from the overhead. And they're kicking the stones, so we're just going to have to assume they knew what happened. They know what happened. They knew what happened. Verbs are fun. But yeah, the sweepers did need to jump on at that last minute. That was a well-played defensive end from Padilla in terms of minimizing the scoring. So Malaret is up 2-1 over Team Connolly. Padilla. Connolly was the first game of the day. I apologize. And there is a Connolly on the Padilla squad. As the Skylar gets set. Going for a counterclockwise draw, guard. This is going to be a guard. I say it's a guard, but I think it's going to slip into the rings. And it does. So now Padilla has a chance to either take it on or ignore it and set up his strategy for the end. As Mike delivers his first rock. So this is the fourth end. We're going to take a 5-minute break after the fourth end. The halftime show is going to... I was going to be mean and say it's like the ghosts of former Arizona sports mascots. But I'm not going to go there. That's mean. So Mike drew in. I thought they were looking for a corner guard. As Skylar gets set. Skylar's been curling for 3 years. Some of his performances include C event runner-up in the 2023 Hive Bonspiel at the Oval. Was also at the 500 at Coyotes in 2023, and as well as in 2024. Oh, that was in Denver, pardon me. And he was also at the MoPac 500 Bonspiel in February as a skip. And a C event semifinalist at the Hive this past April. As a rating is set for his second stone. Ray has been curling for 2.5 years. He's a member of the Puerto Rico Curling Federation and a retired 21-year U.S. Air Force service member. Military member. So that looks like a draw around the center biter stone. As you see Jeff throw his first. I think they were looking to maybe hit the yellow back, and they do tap it back a little bit. So a good shot there from Jeff. And you're hit, and the shooter's going to roll through the rings out of play from Trey. Coverage of this end is being brought to you by End Game Curling, elevating the standard for high performance brooms. EndGameCurling.com. Oh, and Jeff is very quick to get his second rock out. Jeff is second. End of bio. So, oh, and he flashes past everything, unfortunately. So, Padilla sitting 1, and Carl has a red at the top of the rings. So it looks like Padilla is going to go to split the rings with McDonald's second stone. Trey McDonald, otherwise known as Big Daddy, has been curling for just a year. He was at the mixed fours playdowns as second, and he marked his performance as poor, unfortunately. He also noticed that he was fortunate to be part of 2 teams that made the semifinals in the crushed bonspiel at Wine Country, as well as the thin air bonspiel at Epic Curling in Lake Tahoe. He knows that he broom stacks like a champion, which means that he is arguably a social butterfly in the warm room. Unfortunately, his shot tapped the red back, and I think they really wanted to get rid of the red if they could. As Trevor's first shot heads down the ice. This is more of a draw. Malaret doesn't have the hammer, so I think just looking to control the front. But this is going to go a little deep. Maybe they wanted to draw around, but it's going to go too far out of play. So now Padilla is going to try and chip out that red with Alex Connolly's first stone. Alex has been curling for 3+ years. As they talk over the shot, looks like they want to angle raise the yellow onto the red as Alex's shot is underway. It's pretty close. Sweepers are really trying to hold the line. And it does run the yellow back onto the red. Shot accomplished from Alex Connolly. That was a beautiful shot there from Alex. So it looks like Malaret is doing some damage control of his own here in this end. It's a bit tricky, but I think they want a little hit and roll. As Trevor's been curling for 4 years. Called him off. This looks pretty close for a hit and roll. Ooh, and it's going to hopefully end up in a pretty good spot for Malaret. And again, that looks like it did settle under cover. So that was a good recovery by Dersch after his first stone. And so Padilla's just going to try and do the race takeout again. It worked really well the first time. Why not? As Alex's shot is away, going for the in-turn clockwise rotation. And also, if it over curls, there's a plan B there. And it just so it hits the yellow and rolls under cover. So we are to skip stones. Looks like red is shot now. Barely, with the yellow just a little deeper into the 4-foot ring. Or the 8-foot ring, pardon me. The white ring's 8-foot. So this could be a situation where you might think about splitting the rings but there's the danger factor. There's also the possibility of freezing on top of the red and then make it a lot harder for Padilla to get rid of both reds. And there's also a little bit of backing on the red if you were to draw on top of it. And that seems to be the shot that Carl and Trevor have agreed to. And I often say throughout the tournament, I'm not on the ice, so they might see things that I don't, or they might have a different strategy than I would normally call. But hopefully, we're all having fun and just hopefully kind of coming up with different scenarios altogether. So Trevor has the broom down for his skip. As Carl throws his first without the hammer, looking to draw on top of the red shot stone. So it's almost a front stone. A front stone is kind of the miss, I would say. Oh, this is it overcurled just a little bit. Oh no, so that pushed the yellow into scoring position. So now it is Padilla sending shot stone. And now Padilla kind of needs to decide whether to split the rings. Or maybe block running the red back onto the yellow. That seems to be what they're doing. That makes total sense. And Danny's been curling for 3.5 years. He's been to Arena Playdowns once, playing lead, and now he's skipping. He also won the Silicon Valley Bonspiel in 2023 and was the B event winner at the MoPac 5 and Under in 2024, which is 2 years ago, in San Francisco. Danny knows he curled one time with Dan Stephanie, leaving us 2 Dans short of our ultimate goal of the perfect team. Well, and also they could get a sponsorship with Danon if they could. Or Danon, depending on who you ask. Or Danon if you are being weird. As Danny Padilla gets set, looking to guard or put up a front stone to protect their one stone, which makes sense. They have the hammer. And if they leave the other side open for a draw, that seems to be a pretty good approach. This is pretty good. Oh, this could have been a mistake, unfortunately. Because he was just a little heavy. And actually runs the yellow under the red, under the yellow, and pushes the yellow to the back forefoot for third shot. So now Malaret is sitting 2. So just the wrong way to miss, unfortunately, for Danny. And so this is a situation where I think Malaret would probably try to take away the draw path on the left side here. Someone joked on that chat about maybe an anonymous service could be called Dan Anon, which yeah, I wish I thought of that. So we have Carl settling in the hat for his last rock without the hammer. He's been to MoPac Arena Playdowns twice, and twice missing the playoffs on a tiebreaker. He usually does put a strong squad into the field. and definitely hopes to be in the hunt as we continue our pool play. So this one was just a little light and maybe overcurled a little more than they would have liked. So Padilla does have a draw for 1. So not the worst outcome. So someone on the chat asked who the favorites might be, and it's hard for me to say. So we kind of asked the teams to seed themselves, trying to basically say which team they think was the stronger one, and then the teams had to say that they were the worst team, which is a little humbling. But after the pure seeding, the top 3 teams were Gilbert of Oval, Pomeroy of Oval, and Blackshear of Southern California. So those seem to be the possible favorites. So we'll see how it shakes out as the weekend continues. This is Padilla's last. It looks okay. It might be a little heavy. As Trevor tries to sweep it, it crashes. And oh my gosh. You have to feel for Danny Padilla. He had a little backing, but it was just a little heavy and crashes, leading to a steal of, I think, 2 for Team Malaret. Words are hard sometimes. Just really unfortunate there. So with that, we're going to take a 5-minute halftime break, 4th end break. And we're going to take a pause in the action. We're going to go around the rings when we come back from the break. But before we do, just to remind people that ongoing coverage of this event is being brought to you by doubletakeout.com, featuring stats and information about the top men's and women's teams from around the world, updated throughout the competitive curling season at doubletakeout.com. And by curling.gg. For strips and curlers who love a good game, curling.gg is your ultimate practice tool. And by Endgame Curling. Yeah, right. Endgame Curling. Unlock your potential with the curling broom that's right for you. endgamecurling.com. We're going to take a pause in the action. We'll be right back to the 2025 doubletakeout.com MoPac Championships presented by curling.gg. Welcome back to the 2025 MoPac Championships presented by curling.gg. Before we start the action here, about a minute to go before the fifth end starts on our feature sheets. Let's go around the rings, which is a wholly unique phrase that I just made up and no one else has ever used ever. Which of course is a joke. On sheet A, the contest between Team Lazarowicz of Silicon Valley and Pomeroy of Oval. It's all Pomeroy in this game, scoring a single in the first, stealing two in the third, and a single in the fourth. They're up 4-0 over Lazarowicz. There's also another 4-0 game in the offing on sheet B, the only women's game on the ice, as we have Team Connolly up 4-0 over Team Ewers of OVC Curling. Sheet C is our feature sheet, as you've seen. Malaret just stole two in the fourth to take a 4-1 lead over Team Padilla from Wine Country. And then we have on sheet D, Team Stephanie of Wine Country. That's a 4-2 game over Team Blacksher of OC Curling, or Orange County Curling, depending on who you ask. Rocks in play. We are underway here in this fifth end with Skylar Anderson's first. And this is going to be a center guard with the counterclockwise rotation. Skylar's thrown pretty much all draws or guards, which is understandable given his role as the lead. As Mike Radian is throwing his first, looking to, I think, draw around the guard that was just put up. With an in-turn clockwise rotation. Now this is going to be a guard too. So looking for a corner guard, looking to generate some offense here for Team Padilla. And that starts with a good guard from Mike. That's his name. Styler throws his second stoke. Looking to draw around the guard he just put up with the counterclockwise rotation. It's an intern if you're a lefty. Weight's a little light as the sweepers are trying to coach it. Carl comes out to help. It might be a biter. Just a little shy. As Mike's second shot heads down the ice. I think he's looking to... Is that putting up another corner guard? Oh, they were maybe trying to tap their shot up. And it turns into a center guard. The initial yellow guard gets closer to the rings and still is a corner guard. As Jeff Oviat's first rock heads down the ice. Also looking to draw around the pile. This is coming up light too. Maybe a little tap action. It gets past the guards through the ports. It's going to settle probably top 4 foot. That's an awesome draw there from Jeff. And so now, with the 5 rock rule expired, Danny Padilla is wasting no time asking Trey McDonald to open up the front. Trey notes that he spent his summers growing up at his family chalet, high up in the mountains of Switzerland. After spending his days apprenticing in his grandpa Fritz's cough drop factory, Trey would often spend his off time in the mountains with the Ricola yodeler. This led to a lifetime of traveling and sharing his passion with the world. As just next shot heads down the wing. So that clearance action for McDonald was pretty good, but it did open things up for Jeff to draw on top of the red already in the rings. And so it turned into a freeze for Jeff's second. And a pretty good shot there. More about Trey. While participating in a yodeling competition at the Iowa State Fair, Bob Barker was passing by while enjoying a giant corn dog. Oh, that's a pretty good shot there from Trey. Does unlock the reds. The shooter rolls out of play, and one of the red goes to the left edge of the 12-foot. So Bob Barker was passing by. He heard Trey's majestic bellow and said, quote, "I need to get that sound in a game." And so now Trey can be heard on The Price is Right as the yodeler for the infamous cliffhanger game. So next time you see him, ask him for a yodel. So this is Trevor's first stone, looking to put up a front stone. Either a guard or in the top of the rings. The line's the most important part, and it looks like that was accomplished. As we see Alex's delivery, his first, looking to clear that front stone. This looks pretty good as it does clear the stone. The shooter's going to roll under the corner guard and remain a guard itself. So not a bad outcome. Probably the best you could hope for. As Trevor gets set. Trevor started curling in the fall of 2020. He produces a YouTube series called Curling to the Tee with Trevor, where he talks about his experiences and training of newer curlers. He's also traveled to multiple bonspiels, where he's achieved A event winner, A bracket runner-up, B event runner-up, C, D winner, whole lot more. He was also part of a team who won the Olympic Day curling event involving Ukrainian men and women's curlers in 2022. And fun fact, I was the skip of that team. Bonspiels are a fun experience, as Trevor did put up a new front stone in the guard zone position, and so Alex is going to clear that out. And Alex, fun facts. Oh, that was pretty good there. So he was able to run the run the red back onto the red. And it kind of opens up the center of the scoring circles. So that was a really good outcome for Alex. And Alex has been curling for just over 3 years. That's Paul Tanner. My apologies. But Alex has also been curling for more than 3 years. And just over 3 years ago, on a cold weekend morning, his now wife and him were watching Good Day Sacramento, and they were interviewing Cameron Spangler from Wine Country at Skate Town Ice in Roseville. Since they lived about 15 minutes away from Skate Town, they immediately went to Wine Country website and signed up for their first Learn to Curl. And they've been curling nonstop ever since. That's a fun story. Yeah, so I didn't want to say to be sure, but Alex is the husband of the skip of Team Connolly, who is in the women's field. As Carl delivers his shots. I think he's just looking to draw in top of the rings. Maybe tap the red back, actually. And this looks pretty good for a tap. Maybe a little split. No, not much of a split, but it's still a decent shot. Although it did push it to the back 12 foot, so it's still a pretty open house for Padilla. So they're looking to draw the port on the right side. And you might ask yourself, why are they going on the right side when the left side is a lot more open? And I think the answer has got to be they feel more confident in the path of the stone on that right side. So currently facing 3 with the hammer. Danny Padilla gets set. And his rock is away. Looking to draw the port. Looking to be undercover top of the rings. Or tee. They need to make sure it gets there though. As the sweepers are on it. Looks a smidge light. But it might be enough to be shots as they get it to the 12 foot, to the 8 foot, the 4 foot. And that's it. Settles in full 4 foot. So a pretty good shot there from Danny Padilla. Great draw. And that he definitely needed that after giving up that steal in the last end. So Carl's going to try to follow Danny down, except for there wasn't a lot of ice. There's less ice than Danny took. And so it looks like Carl's going to try to draw the other side. And Carl's been curling for a decent amount of time. I say that because he curled for about 4 years around the time of the 2002 Salt Lake Olympics. And then he took a pause and only came back in like 2019. But he's been back since. So he's been curling about 10 years now. Although sometimes for 5 and unders, the COVID year doesn't count. But otherwise it counts. So about 10 years. So it definitely kind of closes off that left side. Especially after it crashed on the guard and rolled to the left. So not too shabby. Carl's been a Bonspiel champion several times, including at the Hive in 2022 and also the Ogden Bonspiel in April 2022. So last rock coming from Danny Padilla, looking to draw that port a second time for a second stone, a second point. And this is a little lighter than his first. And it wasn't there. So Padilla gets back on the board with a single. Draws within 2. And Carl and Team Malaret is going to take a 4-2 lead into the 6th end. And we're going to see what happens when we come back to the 2025 doubletakeout.com MoPac Championships. Coming to you live from Coyotes Curling Club in Tempe, Arizona. Definitely stick with us all day today. Our MoPac After Dark starts a little early tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Our featured game will be Team Ewers of Orange County Curling taking on Team Feldman of Wine Country. And all the action starts at 6 on the MoPac YouTube channel. And if you want more curling this weekend, we have a quadruple header set for Saturday, starting at 9 a.m. Pacific Mountain Standard Time. And then we have 4 games, 9 a.m., 12:30 p.m., 4:30 p.m., and 8 p.m. And at that point, our playoffs will be set for Championship Sunday, with a game starting at 8:30 and 12:30 p.m. So lots of action. We hope you stay tuned. As rocks are in play, we're underway here in the 6th end. As Mike Radian puts up a guard. It's a pretty deep guard, so that's a good place for it. It's not on the center line, which would be preferred. And so Skylar is going to put up a guard of his own with the intern counterclockwise action. And this is going to actually settle into the rings. Go a little deep. So teams coming from arena to dedicated ice have to kind of make adjustments to get used to the different characteristics of dedicated ice. And you know, sometimes being on arena ice helps in terms of being able to read the ice. But dedicated ice can be tricky just in terms of the speed variances or tolerances. Like there's a little bit more wiggle room sometimes on arena ice. As Michael's second stone is away looking to draw around the guard that he just put up. It's looking pretty good. And that does settle buried in the top 4 foot. So Skyler's going to be asked to draw the other side with a clockwise rotation. Skyler's been curling for 3 years. He is a correctional deputy who, at first, had little interest in curling. During the 2022 Beijing Winter Games, his coworkers would watch curling late at night, as it was one of the only sports on TV. Eventually, they convinced him to join a Learn to Curl class or session, and what started as a fun way to spend time with friends quickly turned into a deep passion. So, and I helped teach that group. So, I'm also from the Oval, so I have a decent number of connections with Oval curlers. However, I do note that I am here for MoPac, and I definitely try to, play everything as straight as I can. So that draw from Skyler ended up in a pretty decent place. As you see, Trey McDonald's first stone looking to, I think, pop out the Skyler stone. Needs to curl over, though. It does make contact, and it does push the red to the back 12 foot, but that's all. And the shooter's also going to roll through to the back of the sheet, not in the rings. So not a bad outcome, as Padilla sitting shot, and Carl's asking Jeff Oviatt to clear out the front. Maybe have a little magic happening. And does clear the guard, and the guard manages to miss the red in the rings. So a little magic that way. So I think just looking to put up another front stone, protect the Padilla shot stone in the top 4 foot. And Trey is the yodeler, as we noted. But apparently there's like a cake brand called Yodels or something. Maybe someone in the YouTube chat can help me out with that. This is looking okay. It's a little heavy and it's going to go a little deep. So as a front stone, and it's going to go through the rings out of play. So just an unfortunate miss there for Trey. So now Jeff is being asked to hit out the yellow with his next rock. And so it looks like Jeff has thrown a decent amount of all shots, and this is hanging out and needs to get back over. And it won't, unfortunately. He's been asked to throw up weight about a third of the time. Close to half, so let's say 2/5 of the time. And he's thrown a pretty good mix, about half and half clockwise versus counterclockwise rotations. As Alex throws his first stone for Team Padilla. Again, Padilla is looking for that front stone to protect the precious shot stone in front of the forefoot, or in the forefoot to be more precise. The weight's there, and let's see if it's online. It looks pretty good. I hope everyone's having fun. I enjoy doing these broadcasts. As Dersh delivers, looking to clear out the front. Looks like the peel is going to take place. There's a jam possibility, but the jam's not there. The guard's going to go out of play, as does the shooter. So shot accomplished by Dersh. So Connolly and his wife took, immediately signed up for a learner curl after seeing it on TV. This is his first competitive event, hopefully of many to come, and he's excited to be here. As he is going to put up another front stone. This looks pretty good. He also wants to say hi to his parents and sister, who are hopefully watching in Tennessee. Also the rest of the Connollys and Krengels that might be watching out there. And I also say hello to them. This went a little deep, so there's a possible double for Trevor and Team Malaret to take on. So Trevor's won multiple league events and works persistently towards his goal to earn a berth in a U.S. national curling event. And he's definitely one of the more enthusiastic curlers at our club. This looks like it's going to get one, it's going to get two, and that does look to be a double takeout. It did sit on the line, so let's mark that as an unofficial double takeout. Club. This looks like it's going to get one, it's going to get two, and that does look to be a double takeout. It did sit, and that unofficial double takeout is unofficially brought to you by doubletakeout.com. So the top of the house is wide open. Malaret has the hammer this end, and it is shaping up to be a pretty good opportunity for Carl and his rink, hailing from the Oval Curling Club. And people might ask, why is it called Oval Curling? And it's because the club is at the Utah Olympic Oval, the lawn track speed skating facility in western Salt Lake County. So we've grabbed the oval and held on to it as part of our branding. As Danny Padilla gets set for his first. He's thrown a decent amount of draws. And he's going to throw a draw here, looking to, I think, be positioned in front of the shot stone on the left side here, pardon me. And this is looking pretty good. Maybe just a smidge heavy as they're looking to push it over. So there's going to be maybe a little hit and roll. So definitely had a right idea. And it is shot. So now Malaret's trying to take it on. Try to hit that shot yellow out and be sitting 2 again. And again, the situation is setting up for Malaret to score 2 or possibly more with 3 stones to go. 2 more for Team Red, 1 more for Team Yellow. As Carl is talking things over with his front end. Carl and his spouse Shara started curling with the Wasatch Curling Club after the 2002 games. They won the club's inaugural 8-team lead while playing skip and vice. And in that first phase, as Carl throws his stone, he was on a winning team for the Utah Winter Games and the second place team at the Logan Bonspiel. So he's throwing weight. This is curling, which is good because that's what he needs. And a nose hit there. Good shot there from Malaret. So now Padilla's in damage control. Looking to just hit out that Malaret stone that was just put up. And, hopefully stick around for shot and then force Carl to make another hit for the 2 points. So Danny Padilla gets set with his last rock here without the hammer. This is a little lighter than I was expecting. So this is not necessarily going to be a hit. This is going to be more of a draw on top, which is similar to his first. But the weight's a little lighter than his first. And this might over curl. But it's looking pretty good, actually. Okay. So I don't know if I would have done it that. I don't know if I would have done it that way. However, it looks like Padilla is sitting second shot. So Carl could draw for 2. Or tap the yellow back for 3. And if you know Carl like I do, he's not going to draw for 2. He's going to go for 3. But still not a bad outcome for Padilla. Just, I don't think it was, I thought he was going to throw a little bit more weight. But not a bad outcome, as Carl is set for his last. The hammer coming from the team from the oval. They're trying to push it over, it looks like. Uh-oh. So that was the risk from the possible reward, where it actually hit hit their own stone. And so it missed. Ended up being a steal of 1 for Padilla with 2 ends to go. Pausing the action. We'll be right back as our coverage continues from the 2025 doubletakeout.com MoPac Championships. While they're about to get underway for this 7th end, let's take another trip around the rings. On sheet A, Team Lazarus got on the board with a single in the 5th, but Team Pomeroy, the oval, still holds control of the ends, or the game, pardon me, up 4-1. As Mike is throwing his first rock to the end. Looking for a center guard. Sheet B, the women's game on the ice. Team Ewers scored a single in the 4th and then stole 2 in the 5th to draw within 1 of Team Connolly of Wine Country. It's currently Connolly 4, Ewers 3. That rock, I didn't see what happened to the Braden's rock. Sheet D. Team Stephanie is in the driver's seat, holding a 6-2 lead over Team Blackshirt of OC Curling. But Blackshirt has the hammer in the 7th end. This rock from Skylar is also a little heavy, and we'll go through the rings out of play. So Rating gets another chance at the guard. Gonna time it to see where it ends up. People, you might see a lot of curlers have stopwatches on the ice, and it's just a tool to help measure how fast the ice is. And the ice conditions do change over the course of the game, as the water droplets or the pebble that's put on top of the ice to help the stones move down the ice at a decent speed breaks down. But that guard from Radian was made, and it's a good shot. And I forgot to stop timing. As the Skylar's net shot is heading down the ice, looking to draw around, but this is also just a little heavy, and it won't hit the. Oh, might it hit the brakes? It might not. It mightn't. So we have Trey McDonald set to deliver his first. Some people kind of think of stopwatches as crutches, where like players might overly rely on them, and it's possible. But I think curling, like stopwatches, are like any other tool that's allowed to be on the ice. And this one's also going to go through the rings out of play. So the ice speed is kind of tricking people here in this 7th end late in the game. As Jeff Oviatt gets set for his first. And let us time it. This looks a little light. It might be top of the house or a guard. 14-10, 14-12. But that might be the 5th rock at the end. No, that was the 6th rock, so the 5 rock is over. But sometimes you have to double check to make sure that the 5 rock is over. The 5 rock rule, as it's often called. So that draw was a little short. As Trey gets set for his second. Looking to, again, draw around the center and end up in the top of the house. But this is more of a guard. Malaret has the hammer again this end. So that just ends up in the guard pile. As Jeff's rocked is away. Looks like the weight's better this time. Needs to hit the brakes though. But seeing how it curls under the guards. That looks to be a really great shot there from Jeff Oviatt. That's pretty well buried, and so it looks like Padilla is going to try to maybe do a heavy tap back with Alex Connolly's first. Supers are working to hold the line. It's going to be tight. It looks like it's on the guards, so it might unlock the guards. Just barely. So we're to third stones right now, and Dersh is being asked to put up a front stone to protect the shot stone. So it's a little wide, perhaps, for the line, but like Jeff's stone finished really nicely, and it looks like it's almost a similar outcome for Trevor's first. It is what was called, but I think there's a possible double for Connolly to take on. Oh, there's no double there, but it does clear it runs the red onto the red shot stone, basically replacing it. And the shooter rolled into the top 12 foot. So Malaret's going to replace the front stone. But that was a good shot from Alex. As Dersh's throw is away. But he's not throwing it away. So, talking a little bit about game strategy. Malaret's up 1 right now, and if he takes 1 here, he'll have a 2-point lead into the last end, which definitely favors the team that's up. So that's also, I think that's also why Carl's not being more aggressive as he could be in this game, as we're entering the final phases of this draw here. And I haven't mentioned it yet. There are 2 men's pools, one pool of 4, one pool of 5, and then the winners, the top 2 winners of each pool, will cross over and play and face the other pool in the semifinals, and then that'll set the slate for the finals. So Dersh's front stone again was successful. And again, thank you everyone tuning in. Hopefully we'll see you tonight at 6 Pacific time for the nightcap, featuring a women's game between Team Ewers of OC Curling taking on Team Thelman of Wine Country Curling. And I think Padilla's trying to draw through the port on this right side, because I think Padilla wants to try to steal if they can, or at least minimize giving up a big end. And this is it would look pretty good, just a little heavy as it does go through the rings out of play. So that was a good effort from Padilla, but it also shows Malaret the path to the top of the house. And so it looks like Malaret's going to try and put a stone like a front stone, I mean, the tendency is to try to go to the top of the rings, be sitting 2, but I think that's dangerous. Because it sets up a possible double. And so I think light's the miss. Although if he goes a little heavy, then you don't want to be heavy. I think light's the miss here. And also in curling, especially competitive curling, you talked about your alternatives, your options, and often we say the right way to miss. And so, you know, sometimes it's like, do you want to miss narrow, miss wide? Do you want to miss light, miss heavy? It's all geared to try to find the tolerance for the shot. And this front stone is looking pretty good. And actually, they don't mind going a little heavy here, but that was kind of the target zone. I don't think there's a double there. So it's a good shot for Malaret. And so now for Padilla, the question is, what do they do here? Looks like they are calling their timeout. They have 7 minutes to play an end in 1 shot. And so the timeout has been called. The players make their way down the ice. Let's see if we can listen in. The answer for this draw is that no, we can't hear them. There's too much. There's too many other games on the ice. Well, let's see the house. Apologies for not showing you that earlier. So the question is how to avoid giving up a crooked number and keeping the game close to maybe score to tie or score to win in the 8th end. And so I was saying I don't think the double's there, but that seems to be the best possible shot. Or nosing the red with maybe a slight roll on top, and then making Carl do a very tricky shot for 2. Yeah, the double's not there, but I would think to try to slap the side of the stone on the right, and get the stone that's buried moving, but then you lose the shooter. So I think that's not the shot. They're also looking at maybe angle raising the yellow on the right, and that seems to be probably the best shot to score. Padilla has thrown mostly draws. Through 6 ends, he's thrown 1 takeout and 1 tap back. The rest have been front stones or draws. So, does kind of underscore the importance of a skip being able to draw. We said we had a game leave the ice as it's over. We'll update you when we can after this next shot. So Padilla is getting set, looking to angle raise the yellow towards the button with his last rock without the hammer. It's looking pretty close. It might be over curling a little bit. And they might look for like a plan B to like roll. Nope, there's no roll either. Just unfortunate. They're for Danny Padilla. So now Malaret has a draw for 3 with a little bit of backing. So I would do the same ice that he just took for Malaret, not Padilla. Both teams have plenty of time to play the final end. Teams have what's called thinking time, 30 minutes to play 8 ends. The clock starts when their turn begins, and then it stops as soon as the rock touches the delivery tee line. So just a draw for 3 here. No big. So looks like he has a little bit of pace. I think going to be using that backing. He needs to get off the guard. It's off the guard. That was at 12:40. Okay, it's on the guard. But it wicks into the house to the back of the 8-foot for that 3rd point. So mark that for 3 for Team Malaret, as he takes a fairly commanding 7-3 lead into this 8th and final end of regulation. We're going to take a pause in the action. We'll be right back when we continue with the 2025 MoPac Championships presented by curling.gg. All right, we're about to get ready with the final end of regulation, but I want to quickly recap the game that just finished on sheet D. Team Stephanie of Wine Country were the 8-2 winners over Team Blatcher of OC Curling. And then just finishing our trip around the rings, as we have a little bit shaky cam as people walk in front of the cameras. On sheet A, the contest between Team Lazarich and Team Pomeroy. Pomeroy is still up 4-2 over Lazarich, as Styler's first stone is away here in this 8th end. Team Padilla has the hammer. The other game in action is on sheet B, and Team Connolly of OC Curling, Wine Country Curling, my bad. Oh, and Skyler got the guard up. And I say that just because he's been working on his weight this game, and so it's good that he was able to get that guard. It's not as tight to the rings as I'm sure Carl would prefer, but it's a guard. As Mike Reagan's draw is going to be a guard or a biter. And it's biting the top of the house. So that gives Carl a chance to take it on. So, Connolly of Wine Country is up 6-3 over Team Ewers of OC Curling. And we are keeping track of the scores at bondspieler.com. So Skyler's being asked to take out the stone that Mac Brady just put up. And this looks pretty good. So it does hit the yellow out, and the shooter goes away, but the shooter did not need to stick around. especially with Malaret holding a 4-point lead at this juncture. And very quickly, Radiant is pushing out of the hat, looking to try and draw around that center guard, or actually put up a center guard, my apologies. But this is coming up a little light. Let's see if it's going to stay in play. And it just gets over the hog line. So it is a guard. And so Jeff Oviat's being asked to draw around. Came in a little inside, I believe. I don't know if that was his adjustment. So they're saying it's going to be light, and it looks like it's going to go into the pile. It's not a... There's no pile. It's now a part of a pile. So another game is finished. On sheet A, Team Pomeroy got 5 in the 7th end. Just to take a commanding lead, and that was enough for Team Lazarich. So this shot from Trey is going to go into the rings, back 8 foot. So looks like Carl's not going to try to hit it out. He's going to try and narrow the scoring area and sit in front of it. That was a good shot there from Trey, just a little deep. And let's see if Jeff can respond. Weight's looking pretty good. Line's looking pretty good. Sweepers are just walking it down right now. It's not going to curl back enough, but it's going to tap it to the back 12 foot, where it looks like it's just hanging on by the hair of his chinny chin chin. So that was a good shot from Jeff. Not exactly what the doctor ordered, though. As the trade it set for his next, looking to, I think, just draw on top of Carl Stone. Padilla has the hammer, but they need 4 to stay alive. This draw's looking pretty good. It's just not curling back enough to really help them. And so now Carl's going to try to run Padilla out of stones. So the broom's down for a hit for Dersh's first. Looking pretty good, although Carl called the sweepers off. And that's a nose hit right there. Good for the takeout. And Dersh has thrown about half draws, half takeouts. So now there are 4 stones to go for Team Padilla. And they basically need to make sure every one of these stones counts, or it's game over. As Alex delivers. I think looking to hit and roll under cover, perhaps. Let me show you what I'm seeing. It's looking a little light, but it might get into the rings. It will go into the rings. It'll settle in the top forefoot, biting the forefoot. It's good for shot. And so Malaret's just looking to draw on top of it now, because the takeout's pretty tricky. So that was a good shot there from Alex. Trevor's shot is away. One reason why Alex's shot is really good is that it's shot and it's buried. So it really makes it hard for the other guys to make a play on that stone. And this stone is going to be a little heavy, settling in the back of the rings to the edge of the 12-foot. So just a little miss there from Dersh. So the window is still open for Team Padilla. As Connolly gets set. Again, looking to draw again, like this. I think just keep piling them in and hope for the best. This one, the sweepers were looking at it, and now they're just walking it down. It's not curling back though, so this could be a little break for Malaret and a bad luck for Padilla. Because basically, Carl can just throw some heat at it and make the rock go away. I guess there's a worry about a jam. So it looks like they're going to throw like a heavy, like a control. We ran into a technical difficulty as Carl's shot is away. Let's see what's going on here. We might be back. Okay, we're back. Had me sweating. It crashed on the guard, unfortunately. So Padilla is still alive. So Padilla is sitting 2. They need 3 to tie 4. Or do they need 4? I haven't updated the scoreboard. My apologies. So they need 4 to tie. So both of these skip stones need to count. And again, thank you everyone tuning in for this game. We're going to be back at 6 p.m. Pacific for MoPac After Dark, even though the sun will still be up at that time. So the broom's down for Padilla. I see that he's got the knee pad with a slider on it to help him help with his delivery. I think just looking to draw and make sure there's a third rock that's counting, as the Danny Padilla stone is away. With the counterclockwise release, the intern for the lefties. This is looking okay, a little light, and it might crash on the guard, and it does. So that could be it, or they could just play it out, see if they get lucky with their last. And it looks like we're going to play the string out, or if it's fair, just given how close we are to the end. Although a team that's mathematically eliminated, the game's over at that point. And they're not, there's like a slight sliver of a window that's ajar. And so Malaret is going to do his best to close that window, close that door. So Carl has also thrown mostly draws this game. He has thrown hits as he's needed to. It's been tricky to make the hits, though, from what I've seen. But this has been a draw game by both skips, only resorting to hits when necessary. This rock is just a smidge heavy, but it is going to be shot. So basically, that door is like close to being almost close, like the latch is about to engage, as it were. So that's a good start, because basically it's going to be next to impossible for Padilla to address the shot stone and be able to set 4 stones when it's all said and done. So a very excellent strategic play there from Carl Malaret. And so Padilla is looking it over. They have 2.5 minutes to, or they have 1.5 minutes roughly to really figure it out. They did call their timeout, so they can look at all the angles as possible, but they don't need to. That's going to be the ball game. So as the teams shake hands, we're going to mark the final 7-3 in favor of Team Malaret. Could be 8-3. It's hard to say. Like, because the team that's down, that's hard to say. I don't know the official score, but it's going to be 7-3 or 8-3 the final. But excellent game for Team Malaret, especially after losing their opener this morning against Team Gilbert. This was Team Padilla's first game. They're going to be back on the ice at 6 to face Team Skidmore. And we're going to be back on the ice at 6 to feature Team Ewers of OC Curling taking on Team Feldman from Wine Country. For Team Malaret, they're done for the day. They're going to be back on the ice at 9 tomorrow to face Team Skidmore. So let's take one more trip around the rings, and we're going to wrap up this draw of the 2025 MoPac Championships presented by curling.gg. 3 games are done. Team Pomeroy was the 9-2 winner over Team Lazarich from Silicon Valley. Pomeroy's from the Oval. Team Malaret from the Oval defeated Team Padilla from Wine Country 7-3. And then Team Stephanie from Wine Country defeated Team Blatcher from OC Curling 8-2. The last game on the ice, it's a close one on the women's field. Team Ewers has fought to stay in this game, but they're down 6-5 over Team Connolly from Wine Country. And Connolly has the hammer in this 8th end, and they're almost done. I would switch over to that if I could. Let me see if I can. Hold on, I'll be right back.
You couldn't do anything. Yeah, it was over.
All right, so there's 4 cameras on the ice, and then I have like a bonus 5th camera / iPhone off the ice to switch coverage if we can. So I'm getting it ready if possible. All right, 1 second. Because I think we're the skip stones on the women's game. It's a pretty messy house as I'm still getting everything loaded, rocking and rolling. So it's still trying to find the camera or the Wi-Fi. See her. All right, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this camera loaded for some reason. It's not connecting to the Wi-Fi.
Well, we're done for the day. I know, it's just there's a lot. I think just went a little bit more of that game. I prefer that.
Oh, I know what's going on. Just a little technical snafu.
Anytime we have to go far out to take out is scary.
All right. So this is Team Viewers shooting the rock. They need to steal this last end. They're going to crash in yellow, and that's handshakes. So that was a close game there. Lots of rocks in place, as you see. It looks like Team Conway is going to hold on to secure their first win in this event, while Team Viewers drops their opener. So Team Viewers is coming back to play in just a couple hours at 6, I believe. Let me double check that. As I step back. All right. So it's nice to have the extra camera, but sometimes it doesn't always work. Oh, all right. So we are going to see Team Viewers come up in just a little bit. And just before we sign off, just another reminder and thanks to our sponsors, including doubletakeout.com, home of rankings of the top men's and women's teams from around the world, updated throughout the competitive curling season at doubletakeout.com. Also by curling.gg. Test your stip skills against your friends online at curling.gg. And by Endgame Curling, manufacturers of the travel handle, separates into 3 pieces for easy packing and carry-on luggage. Most carry-on luggage. Information at endgamecurling.com. So thanks to all of our sponsors as we concluded our second draw of 3 rounds of games today. We definitely hope to see you tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific, where our featured game is going to be Team Viewers taking on Team Feldman. So until then, on behalf of all of us here at MoPac, Coyotes Curling, and with deep thanks to our sponsors, this has been your host Ryan Olson saying so long, good curling, and hope to see you tonight at 6.